Well, welcome to the Carl Show on a Tuesday. Good morning, wherever you happen to be. I figured I'd do this a little early. Um, let's recap of what happened in the NFL and college football real quick. Uh, Penn State ended up getting that game over Iowa, 30-24. Georgia beats Florida, 36-17. Washington State beat Stanford on the road 41-38, and Oklahoma State beat Texas 38-35, losing 3 out of the 4, so only got 1 out of 4 this week. It's okay though, it happens as we get closer and closer to um, the end of college football. I hate to say it, 4 games left for everybody, and it's 5 weeks left in the college football season, and it's flying by. So the official college football rankings will come out tonight. I was going to probably do this video tomorrow, but I figured what the heck, just make a couple of predictions who I think should be up there. I think Alabama should be 1, 2 is probably going to be Clemson, 3 Notre Dame, 4 is a toss-up between LSU and Michigan is what experts are saying. I think you got to give the nod to LSU. Michigan could probably come in at 5 and Oklahoma 6. Those are going to be my predictions for the top 6. Really could go either way on how 4 through 6 goes, but top 3 is definitely going to be, in my opinion, Alabama, Clemson, and Notre Dame. I would think Notre Dame has the best chance right now of getting in out of the 4 top teams. They control their own destiny. They benefit from not having a conference championship. So, moving forward, we will make our picks for the week. Penn State at Michigan. Alabama, LSU, obviously, got to have that game. Syracuse, Wake Forest is an intriguing matchup in the ACC. West Virginia and Texas, and Georgia taking on Kentucky. The reason I picked Georgia and Kentucky is this is something that winner of this game will face the winner, probably the Alabama in the SEC championship game. Could Kentucky spoil the surprise and get up there? Who knows? So, first game, of course, Penn State, Michigan. I'm going to take the Michigan Wolverines. I think they have the defense to stop Trace McSorley in that offense of Penn State. A great offense, by the way. But that's what I'm looking at. I like Alabama over LSU. I like Wake Forest to beat Syracuse. West Virginia to beat Texas on the road. And Georgia to beat Kentucky. That's how the college football season winds up. So make the predictions. I think it's out. Obviously, Alabama's got to be 1, 2's got to be Clemson, 3 Notre Dame, 4 either LSU or Michigan. And Michigan, from what I'm hearing, Michigan, Ohio State probably control their own destiny to get into the college football playoff. They will play at the last game of the season. Winner of that plays in the Big Ten championship. You win that Big Ten championship, probably going to get into the playoffs. So we'll see what happens, but it's good to know. I want to take a special shout out and give our condolences to people affected by the shooting in Pittsburgh, a mass shooting, and it seems like we bring up the mass shooting that happened a few months ago in Jacksonville for a video game for the Madden tournaments. And it just seems like we're growing accustomed to these shootings, and it never used to be that way. So we just pray for the victims in Pittsburgh. Also, this past week there were some suspicious packages sent to CNN, top Democratic officials as of Barack Obama and the Clintons, and I don't feel like the president really cared that much about it. I think he wanted to, he's like, well, we're going to do something about it. And I'm like, okay, what's your action? What's your plan of attack? And he was saying all the right stuff, but I just don't really felt like in my heart that he really cared. So I think it's probably, if it would have been Republicans and his best friend, they would have had a tax squad and all that stuff over there. So, and it was just announced on my phone that they will be sending 5,000 troops to the U.S. and Mexico border. And he is signing an executive order to where if, I don't know what the executive order was, but I'll have to look at it later. I'm still kind of half asleep, so sorry. And then Megyn Kelly got fired from the Today Show after racist comments about blackface, so you gotta watch what you say nowadays. That's just the way it is. I mean, we can come on here and say what we want to about sports. We can say what we want to about certain players needing to step up. I mean, I was pretty critical a few weeks ago of Odell Beckham. I wasn't criticizing his playing ability. I was criticizing the way he handles things and his character. I never once thought he was, I didn't hate him because he was black. I like him. He's a great receiver. He's a great person. I just feel like he's really passionate about his game, and he needs to feel that in the right way. Now, he has stepped up in the last couple of games. No touchdowns, but he has caught over 15 passes for close to 300 yards. He's doing what he can to win for his football team. I get that. So before anybody says that I'm very critical, was very critical of Odell Beckham. The only reason why is because I know the potential this guy has. He has great hands. Questionable at times of his character, like I said, but like I just want him to play well because I think he's a great receiver, and I don't want somebody that has that kind of a talent to just piss it away. And he reminds me, at this particular point leading up to the last few weeks, he reminded me of Terrell Owens. Now, these last couple of weeks, he's been fairly quiet, and he's out there playing, and he's, like I said, I understand the passion behind it. So, but we can, people can get away with what they want to say in different outlets, but when you come to boiling points over critical subjects, might want to watch what you have to say. Maybe have the right people around you so they understand what you're trying to say. In this case, Megyn Kelly did not, and she lost her job over, which is very unfortunate. Don't want to see anybody lose their job over something that was ignorant and arrogant, but it happened. What are you going to do? Moving forward to NASCAR, Joey Logano wins at Martinsville, bumping Martin Truex Jr. out of the way for the win. Joey Logano has now advanced to the Championship 4 in Homestead in a few weeks. We got 2 races left in this Championship 4 round, or the round of 8, and you win, you're automatically advancing. So Joey Logano has punched his ticket. Right now, as far as the points are concerned, the big 3, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Martin Truex, would be the 3 others to get into those spots. Now, you can't sleep on the other 3 drivers that are in this chase. Would be Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, and Clinton Boyer. Eric Almirola is still there, needing a desperate win because he's far behind in points. So those are your 8 drivers left. And next week when we go to, I think it is Texas Motor Speedway, I am taking Martin Truex Jr. Said after the race, Logano may have won the battle, but he didn't win the war. So I like that passion. Understanding where these 2 guys are coming from, I think if Logano was in the same position, he would have knocked Truex out of the... I mean, if Truex was in the same position, he would have knocked Logano on the way. They were bumping and banging the whole way the last few laps. Rubbin's racing. I think the perception is a lot of people don't like it because they know how Joey Logano is. They are racing for a championship, so that's what happens. Special congrats to the Boston Red Sox for winning the World Series over the Los Angeles Dodgers 4-1. Excellent pitching performances by Nathan Eovaldi and David Price. Chris Sale gets the last out. First pitcher, I think, in a long time to get the first out of the World Series and the last out of the World Series. That's something that just nobody ever really thinks about, and then he did it. Steve Pearce got the MVP, hitting 3 home runs in 2 games, numerous counts of RBIs. He's a well-journeyed big leaguer. He's been in all the American League East teams. It was great for him to finally, get a World Series ring. Gotta give a shout out to the Dodgers, though. I mean, I did say that I was really critical of their bullpen. The bullpen cost them in Game 4. They were up 4-0, and they were just overworked after that 18-inning performance in Game 3. Kershaw did what he could, just wasn't very lights. He was lights out after the first inning, and then towards the 4th and the 5th, that's when the game started to get away from him. Could be his final start as a Dodger, is what sources are saying. But all in all, the Dodgers were 9 games below 500 at one point in the season. They looked like to be wrote off. They got back. There were 7 games out in the division at one point. battled back. They got back to the World Series. First time since 2010 and 11, like the Texas Rangers, to lose back-to-back World Series championships. It's been a 31-year drought in LA for the Dodgers to get a World Championship. Interesting to see what they do. Red Sox and the Astros are 6-2 favorites to come back to the World Series. Obviously, being in the same league, they can't match up. It's interesting to see what happens in the National League now. A lot of these teams added talent towards the end of the season, renting these players, as they like to call it, and for their contracts to get to the World Championship and win a World Series. But so far right now, it's going to be interesting to see what Milwaukee and LA does moving forward. But special congrats to the National League Championship Los Angeles Dodgers, and a lot of class shown by the Dodgers for letting the Red Sox celebrate on their ball field. That's never done anymore, and hats off to that. And I like Dave Roberts as a manager. I think moving forward, may need to tweak a couple of things, but we'll see what happens. All right, we will conclude now with the NFL and getting the picks. I only missed one, and that was let me see. No. I missed two. I'm looking at the other one. Sorry. Looking at the other week. Okay, so Houston beats Miami on Thursday night, 42-23. I didn't get my upset, which would have been the Broncos over the Chiefs, but the Chiefs won 30-23 as expected. New Orleans beat Minnesota 30-20, and New England beat Buffalo last night 25-6. Got 2 out of 4, and we had our first head coaching firing of the season, as Browns fired their head coach Hugh Jackson and offensive coordinator Todd Haley. Greg Williams now will take over for the interim job. He's the defensive coordinator. Of course, he was part of that Spygate, or the Bounty Gate in New Orleans. He was a head coach for the Buffalo Bills in the early 2000s. So, some other notable games that we look at. The Bucs have now benched Jameis Winston. They're going back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Some other good games. Carolina beat Baltimore 36-21. Redskins improved to 5-2. Rams remain undefeated. Very game Packer team going up against the Rams. They win 29-27. The Rams do. What's another one where Bears won, Cincinnati wins, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Philly. So, teams getting by here. And a good rushing performance from Adrian Peterson. He just doesn't seem to age. It seems like he's got 146 yards on 29 carries, or 100, something like that, and a couple of touchdowns, and doing pretty well for Washington, as Washington is leading that division with a record of 5-2. Looking up at them right now in that division. Okay, so we move forward to next week, and we're going to make our picks for the week. And first, we're going to the Thursday night game is probably as I'm making my suggestions here, probably a snoozer, kind of like a who cares game type thing. But we're going to pick it anyway, and it's Oakland at San Francisco, Battle of the Bay Area. They're calling this the Bay Area bragging rights. Everybody else is like, who cares? Oakland's coming in with a record of 1-6, and San Francisco's 1-7. But I favored the home team in this game. I'm going to go with the 49ers to beat the Raiders. Guess what? You can make an argument Oakland could beat San Francisco. It's okay. All right, next game, we got Pittsburgh at Baltimore, and I will take, just because I think this team matches up well with them, I like Baltimore to beat Pittsburgh in this one. I think Baltimore learned a lot about themselves in that earlier matchup on Sunday night a few weeks ago. I think Baltimore is coming on home. It'd be the first time I think the Ravens swept the Steelers in a long time. This usually is a back-and-forth battle. I guess you could say throughout the records whenever these two get together. Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe to the channel. I'm also on Twitch at Carl2188. I'm on Snapchat at CT2188. And Instagram and Facebook at Carl Thompson. So Those are your links. I will also be dropping links to my friend's page at Wake and Play at the end of the description. So, next game will be the Rams at the Saints. I am taking the Rams to win to stay undefeated. I want to see somebody go undefeated. Hopefully, it won't be New England at some point. And then Sunday Night Football. We're gonna wait for that one. We're gonna go Tennessee, Dallas on Monday night next week, and I like the Dallas Cowboys to win in that one. I think it's at home. The Cowboys coming off that loss to the Redskins a couple weeks ago. So, understanding, of course, you got a 6-2 team going up against a 3-3-1 team. Obviously, everybody's going to pick the Patriots over the Packers. You can throw these records out because this is going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the wire. Usually does when these two teams have gotten together over the last two times. Of course, the last time Green Bay was up in Foxborough, Matt Flynn was the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Almost pulled it off against New England. Aaron Rodgers was out with a concussion. They come back to Lambeau in 2014. Green Bay wins 26-21 over the Patriots. So let's look at it and say that, okay, this is my favorite team. And if you're the Patriots fan, you're picking the Patriots. If you're a Packers fan, you're going to pick the Packers. That's my pick, obviously. But here's why. This just comes down to quarterback play. Who has the ball at the end of the game? Both quarterbacks are very known to come back from behind and win football games. Everybody's saying Tom Brady's the GOAT, but the best quarterback in the NFL right now is Aaron Rodgers. Okay, let's settle this debate in Foxborough. And if you're a Patriots fan, I want you to pick the Patriots because this is your football team. This is your team that's like, okay, we're 6-2. We're a game behind the Chiefs. We got a win over them. We got the Texans. We got the Bengals. We got Pittsburgh right there, our coattails, a couple of games in front of us. I think New England needs this win more than Green Bay does. Obviously, Green Bay needs to win, but this division in the NFC North is still wide open. I got the Packers, man. Come on now, ain't no way I'm not gonna pick the Patriots. No, it's my team. But a forever battle. I don't care what the records were. This was going to be a game that everybody circled before the season started. Don't really think a lot of people thought Green Bay would be 3-3-1. Everybody kind of maybe thought, the way New England started out 1-2. They haven't lost since then. We'll see what happens. So that concludes this week. Next week, do more college football, see what the rankings are like. We're going to see how our picks went. Obviously can't do baseball until the spring training, but if there's any free agent acquisitions, any trades, we'll get on that. Any basketball news, I do want to say that the Cavaliers have fired their head coach, Tyronn Lue, after an 0-6 start. The only undefeated team left in basketball right now is the Milwaukee Bucks. And special shout out to Klay Thompson for setting the NBA record for most threes in a game last night against the Bulls. He made 14, beating his teammate Steph Curry. So keeping you updated on that. And in hockey, hasn't been really much changed in hockey. I'm trying to think here. There's a good game last week between the Lightning and the Avalanche. A lot of people are thinking Maple Leafs Jets could be a potential Stanley Cup preview. Maple Leafs are the top team in the East. Right now, the top team in the West, I think, is Colorado. So we'll see how this kind of goes. But for any rate, we'll keep an eye on hockey. Still doing college football, NFL. Keep an eye on NASCAR. Any big news comes up during the week, we'll bring it up in this show next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. You all have a fantastic week, and I will see you later.